Hello, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the 21st episode of a story in which 10-year-old Naruto meets Minato from future and that turns Naruto's life upside down. As Naruto lives a happy life in which he is trained by Minato and later Kushina too. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. To begin, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the party started. Shonin's just heard the special rule concerning the last question of Iviki's exam. The one that would forbid them to take the Chunin exams again if they failed. The 10th question, Iviki's favorite part of the exam. The scared faces of the Genins were the main reason he agreed to take charge of the first part of the exams whenever they were hosted Konoha. Fear was a powerful tool, it was intelligence's worst enemy. No matter how smart could be an enemy ninja, if he was scared his intelligence only would work against him, making him think the worst scenario possible or the best way to escape. Were those Genins not overwhelmed by the idea of not taking the exams again, they would realize that a special Jonin from Konoha would never receive the authority to forbid Genins from other villages to take the exams again. Ibiki looked at Naruto and smirked. The boy looked very confident, but the interrogator wasn't surprised. Naruto knew that he passed this test in the original timeline and it suited Ibiki's plans perfectly. This time Naruto wouldn't hit the desk with his palm and make a rant about how he would face the last question without caring about what would happen if he fails and inspire and, as a result, inspire the rest of the Genins to keep with the exam. Ibiki watched satisfied how several Genins raised their hands, making their entire teams fail. Ibiki's assistants had to restrain several Genins who tried to hit the members of their teams that made them fail. Suddenly something made impact with one of the windows breaking it. Everyone looked dumbfounded how a purple-haired woman with Konoha's forehead protector and dressed in a very provocative way got into the room. "Hello, cheap excuses of ninja, I'm Mitarashi Anko, the proctor of the second part of the exam. Are you ready to show that you have what you need to be Chiyunins?" said Anko. Everyone looked at her with a sweat drop. Anko, you are early, my exam didn't end yet, said Ibiki. "Oh well, then I will wait until you end." According to their scared faces it looks like they are with the last question, but still there is a surprising number of aspirants. "I count at least 45 teams, she said. "What can I say? This is probably the edition of the Chunin exams with the biggest number of participants ever, and besides this year we have exceptionally talented aspirants," said Ibiki. "Excuse me, but are you going to make the last question or what? I already know that it is impossible that our leader would give you the authority to forbid us to take the exams again. Besides, these exams are not the only way a Jonin could get a promotion, we can get higher ranks due to our own merits. If you look at the way these exams are organized, it is impossible that they could be the only way to get a promotion. There are too many Chiyunins in the elemental nations," said Kidomaru. The aspirants began to talk among themselves, realizing that failing the last question wouldn't make them career Genins. Ibiki repressed a curse, especially when he saw the forehead protector of the Jonin. According to Hokage-sama, he is one of Orochimaru's favorite lackeys, the multi-armed one and the smartest. "I hope to get my hands on him," he thought. "You are right, the truth was that there is no 10th question. Congratulations, all those who remains here passed the first test," said Ibiki. "Then why you tried to scare us like that?" asked one of the Genins. Ibiki gave them the speech about how those who were not ready to risk their lives for the sake of a mission were not ready to be Chiyunins, and then he took off his bandana. Everyone gasped at Ibiki's collection of scars. Anko decided that it was her turn to scare the aspirants. "Okay, everybody meet me at training ground 44, she said. Later, at the outskirts of the Forest of Death, Orochimaru, disguised as the grass ninja whose skin stole, looked with hungry eyes at his prey Sasuke Uchiha. The boy was at his teammate's side listening to Anko's explanation of the rules of the exam. Now that he could see him directly, he licked his lips at the realization that the Uchiha boy was more formidable than he imagined. The way he behaved, the experienced look on his eyes, the way he moved without wasting movements. "Sasuke-kun, you are so similar to your brother Itachi. Ku. That fool who was my sensei and Namikaze's student trained you very well. It's a pity that their efforts to have a powerful Uchiha on Konoha's side would be wasted when you become my new vessel," he thought. The Kiba sword on Sasuke's back sparkled, "And you even brought me one of Mist's swords, Sasuke-kun. I can't wait to see how powerful you really are. I have no doubt that you will survive my curse seal and taste real power. Soon you will join me and together we will crush everyone who gets on our way. Even I will kill Itachi in your place, he took away one of my arms after all," thought Orochimaru. The missing nin looked at Haku. "Sasuke-kun is not the only powerful blood limit wielder at Konoha. This Haku boy not only has the powers from the Hyoton at his disposal but also has another of Kiri's swords and medical knowledge from my busty ex-teammate Tsunade. He will be mine too. I will find the way to transfer the Hyoton to Sasuke-kun's body. The survivor of my experiments with Makuten proved that it is possible, he thought. He sent a brief look at Naruto. And you, Naruto-kun, will be the key to my success. You can't imagine the marvels that I made reality with your arm. I can't wait to have the whole yourself at my disposal. No wonder why that old monkey of my sensei was so secretive about you. I have very special plans for your father and you. Who knows? Perhaps I could take Arashi's body until Sasuke-kun is grown enough, he thought. Suddenly, the Sannin had to move to evade a kunai that sliced his cheek. He looked at Anko, the person who threw the weapon. It would be better if you listened to my instructions. This exam is not child's play. People dies at the forest of death. That reminds me that you have to fill some forms that will exculpate Konoha from any responsibility for any injury you could get there, including death, said Anko. You managed to scratch me, Anko-chan? I'm impressed. You really improved after all these years. It will be a pleasure to kill you, thought Orochimaru. A Konohanin with a scar crossing his nose handled a paper to Orochimaru. This is your form, fill it with your name, your village of origin and your signature, said the man. Anko hugged the ninja from behind. This is my Iruka-kun. He is not one of these Chiyunins assisting me but one of Konoha's most skilled jonins. Perhaps you heard about him. They call him the teacher and he is the responsible of the high success rate of the new academy graduates at the tests with their jonin senseis. And he is all mine. If you try to flirt with him I will fail you and then I will maul you, said Anko while she looked seductively at Iruka and began to grope him. Anko-chan, this is not the place for this, said Iruka while trying to keep the composure. So this the guy who became your sweetheart, Anko-chan? I will make sure that he gets special treatment after I destroy this village, thought Orochimaru while he filled his form. Later, at the Forest of Death Sasuke, Sakura and Shino were checking their scroll and preparing a plan to perform their mission. Okay, Sakura will be the one carrying our scroll and we will take advantage of Shino's knowledge of the bugs and vermins of the forest to use them in ambushes against other teams. Anything else? Asked Sasuke. Yes, we should have a password speech to use in case we were separated and make sure that there are not imposters involved when we meet again, said Shino. None of them seemed to notice the bamboo piece that Orochimaru was using to spy on them. Yes, tell me the speech so I can caught you off guard, thought Orochimaru. Do you have a suggestion, Shino-kun? Asked Sakura. Yes, what about this? He said. Shino recited the speech, with Orochimaru listening to it. As Shino recited it Orochimaru's face turned from smirking, passed by confused until it became furious. That brat. How he dares. I'll show him, thought Orochimaru. Phew Uten date appa, wind release, great breakthrough, he exclaimed. The gust of wind hit Shino and sent him several meters away. The snake I summoned earlier will take care of the Aburame. It is time to pay a visit to Itachi's brother, he thought while he performed a henge to look like Shino. He headed to Sasuke and Sakura's location, where they received him with kunais in hand. Hold on. Identify yourself, exclaimed Sasuke. It's me, Shino, said Orochimaru. How can we know that you are really Shino? Tell us the speech to identify yourself, said Sakura. Shino paled. Is it really necessary, Sakura-san? Asked Shino. Yes, it is, she said. Shino sighed and recited the speech. Jiraiya-sama is the greatest ninja ever born at Konoha. Not only he is smarter and more attractive than Orochimaru but he is also stronger than his former teammate, who abandoned Konoha because he couldn't stand Jiraiya-sama's awesomeness. Ha, 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 ha. You admired it, exclaimed Shino while he appeared from some bushes. With a sweat drop, Orochimaru dropped the henge, resuming the appearance of the grass ninja he killed. It looks like you are more skilled than imagined if you managed to defeat my snake. The reputation of the Konoha 15 seems to be justified, said Orochimaru. Enough talking, what do you want? Asked Sasuke. I just want to test you. If you impress me I will give you a little present and the scroll you need to pass this exam, said Orochimaru. MMPF, it looks like a good deal. What would happen if we don't impress you? Asked Sasuke. Then I will kill you, said Orochimaru. Then bring it on, exclaimed Sasuke while he activated his Sharingan. Orochimaru sent a wave of killing intent to paralyze the genins but they seemed to be unaffected by it. Is it the best you can do? The hand of death is scarier, said Sakura. Without a response, Orochimaru activated his slithering snake mode, turning the lower half of his body into a snake's tail and charged towards Sakura. First to eliminate the weakest enemy, especially if she is the team's medic, thought Orochimaru. In an instant he was at Sakura's side and tried to knock her out, but to his surprise she dodged the first blow. And the second one. And the third one. And the following ones. What the hell? How can this Shinon be so good? I'm trying to just knock her because I want her alive for the following test, but at this pace I will have to stop to hold back, he thought. Now it is my turn to attack, Shanaro, exclaimed Sakura. Before Orochimaru could realize it, Sakura gave him a super strong punch that sent Orochimaru several meters away. Kadengo Kakyu no Jutsu. Fire release, great fireball technique, exclaimed Shino while he threw a huge fireball at Orochimaru. Katenkari Hidan. Fire release fire dragon bullet, exclaimed Sasuke, throwing several small fireball that surrounded Shino's. The combined fireballs made impact on the knocked Orochimaru, burning the stolen skin. How is this possible? The girl can dodge as well as Tsunade and her punch is as strong as my ex-teammates. It took Tsunade years to achieve this level. Is this girl a super genius as Itachi? And why the Aburame is using Kadenjutsus? Due to the vulnerability to fire of their bugs, these are the only elemental jutsus they never learn. I'm getting really excited. I think that it is time to show my true self and stop playing with them, thought Orochimaru while he removed the remains of his disguise. Ku. You surprised me, kids. You are better than I imagined. No more games, you will see what is to defy Orochimaru, he said. What? Are you Orochimaru? Asked Sasuke looking scared. Orochimaru? Who's that? Asked Shino while he picked his nose. Sakura gave him a slight bonk on the head. Don't do that. Tsunade-sensei told me that Orochimaru was his former teammate, the one who had a fetish for snakes, but he is such a bad summoner that he has to bribe the strongest summons with sacrifices to get their help, explained Sakura. I don't need sacrifices to summon these, flat-chested girl. Feel my Mandara no Jin. 10,000 snakes wave, said Orochimaru. Countless numbers of summoned snakes began to crawl out from Orochimaru's mouth and charged at the Genins. Doton, Doriyuki. Earth release, earth-style wall, exclaimed Sasuke while he created a dirt ball that stopped the snake's flow. Kya, exclaimed Sakura while she jumped towards the middle of the snake flow and landed while delivering a punch to the ground that opened an enormous hole where the majority of the snakes fell. Some of them managed to bit Sakura, but she didn't seem to care about it. Shino then performed a fireball jutsu that destroyed the remaining snakes. Not a bad technique, but it is very weak against jutsus that cover ample areas like Kadenjutsus, pointed Shino. How can you know about this technique, Aburame? I'm the only one who can perform it, said Orochimaru. You shouldn't talk with an adversary when you are facing multiple enemies, like the one at your side, said Shino. Orochimaru barely dodged the sword swing that Sasuke performed with Kiba. The Sannin summoned the Kusanagi blade and attacked back at Sasuke. To his surprise, Sasuke managed to block the attack and his sword didn't got a scratch. That hurt, you bastard, exclaimed Sasuke's sword. Then a big arm arose from Sasuke's sword and hit Orochimaru, sending him again several meters away. I recognize that voice. It's Enma, the Monkey King. That is not one of the Kiba, that's the adamantine staff, exclaimed Orochimaru. Sasuke's sword turned into an oversized staff and a monkey head arose from it. Orochimaru. This time I'm going to kill you, exclaimed Enma. Ku. It's nice to see you again, old ape. I'm surprised that you let someone else instead of Sarutobi to hold you, said Orochimaru. It's Hiruzen too old for you? Unless. No. It can be. A very disturbing thought materialized on Orochimaru's mind. The three Jinan were now placed before him. I think it's time to drop our henges and greet our teammate, commented Shino. Yes, I'm getting tired of pretending, said Sakura. Orochimaru, you will regret coming back to Konoha, said Sasuke to the snake. Sannin's horror. Shino turned into Jiraiya, Sakura turned into Tsunade and Sasuke turned into Sarutobi. Konoha's most legendary team was together again. Why you? Exclaimed Orochimaru. What's going on, team? Asked Jiraiya. Is this the way to greet your old teammates after all these years? You are as disgusting as I remember, Orochimaru, said Tsunade. You are no longer my disciple, Orochimaru. Now I am going to fix the mistake I made years ago, commented Sarutobi. Orochimaru gulped. For first time in years he was not sure that he could win the incoming battle. Konoha's most legendary team was together again. Why you? Exclaimed Orochimaru. What's going on, team? Asked Jiraiya, Is this the way to greet your old teammates after all these years? You are as disgusting as I remember Orochimaru, said Tsunade. You are no longer my disciple, Orochimaru. Now I am going to fix the mistake I made years ago, commented Sarutobi. Orochimaru gulped. For first time in years he was not sure that he could win the incoming battle. Orochimaru was many things: a genius, a leader, a traitor, a murderer, a monster. Orochimaru was also one of the strongest ninjas alive, someone who used to win most his battles. In fact, the only adversaries who actually threatened his life were Hanzo of the Salamander, Itachi Uchiha, and the three ninjas before him, his former team formed by Jiraiya, Tsunade and their sensei Hiruzen Sarutobi. They have been fighting for several minutes, destroying a good chunk of the forest in the process, although it hardly could have counted as a fight because most of the time it was Orochimaru defending himself from his adversaries. Whenever he tried to attack one of them, the other two flanked him and counterattacked with their own techniques. The only time he seemed to gain an advantage was when one of Tsunade's slugs spit acid at him. He dodged the attack but some drops hit his face, destroying his external skin and exposing the face of the woman he was using as vessel. When he saw Orochimaru's face, Jiraiya freaked out. Everyone looked at him with a sweat drop, but suddenly he charged at Orochimaru, mumbling several curses and obscenities that would make Tuya blush. While he was trying to avoid Jiraiya's attacks, the snake Sannin was hit by a fire jutsu from Sarutobi and was forced to use his body shedding technique to regenerate himself. Ku. See, fools? I'm not hurt at all your efforts were for nothing, said a smiling Orochimaru while he emerged from the mouth of his destroyed body. Really? I don't think so, Orobaka. A technique like this must consume a lot of chakra. I think that you have less than half of your normal chakra reserves while we are still fresh. I don't doubt that this bluff would work fine against adversaries who are shocked to see how you get a new body emerging from the damaged one's mouth, but this won't work against us, said Jiraiya. Damn it, they realized the weakness of my regeneration technique. What should I do? Whenever I try to escape with my assimilation jutsu to escape merging with the trees or the ground, Jiraiya tells Tsunade where I am and destroys them with her strength. Why we didn't see any of the other participants? I could use them as hostages, he thought. What he didn't know was that they were the only persons at the northern side of the forest. The rest of participants were told to enter by the south entrances. This way none of the participant Jinan teams would meet Orochimaru or get caught in the fight. Orochimaru evaded a barrage of kunai while he kept deliberating what to do. If only Manta agreed to fight with me. But the treacherous horned snake refused to fight. When he saw that Jiraiya and Tsunade also summoned Gamabunta and Katsuya, he dispelled the summoning, arguing that as his summoner I should know when to fight and when to escape. Coward. At least the slug and the toad said that they wouldn't participate in such outmatched fight and left too. It's a pity that Enma didn't left with them and chose to keep fighting at Sarutobi's side as a staff, he thought. Then he noticed Tsunade's face while looking at Jiraiya. What the? I forgot that the idiot finally managed to catch Tsunade's heart. Perhaps I could take advantage of that, thought Orochimaru. Well. How has been your love life lately? I heard that you are now a couple, he said. That's none of your business, team, exclaimed Tsunade. What's going on, Tsunade-chan? When we were teammates you used to tell me how much you just pissed that pervert Jiraiya and that you would marry a cockroach instead of dating him. That he was not worth of you, said Orochimaru. Tsunade didn't say anything, feeling Jiraiya's eyes on her. Or perhaps now that Jiraiya is the Hokage you find him more attractive? Was it the reason you were with Dan? Because he was the best candidate to become Yondaime until he died? Sensei, now I give you thanks for not making me Hokage. I wouldn't have been able to cope with. Tsunade turned into a fangirl. Ku, said Orochimaru. Shut up. That's not true, exclaimed a furious Tsunade while she charged at Orochimaru. Perfect. The fury turned her more clumsy and her attacks less precise. Now with Jiraiya, he thought. It's a pity that you didn't pursue the Hokage's hat during our youth, Jiraiya. If you did it then Tsunade would have been yours decades ago when she was young and beautiful, not now that she is an old bat who has to use a special technique to look younger, said Orochimaru to add more salt to the wound. Jiraiya's violent, and predictable, outburst proved the renegade Sannin that his tactic worked. He decided to switch target. By the way, sensei. Do you know that I finally got the immortality jutsu that I was pursuing with my experiments? The lady you saw under my face is the last person who offered her life to keep me alive. It's a pity that so many people had to die until I got the technique. I have to thank you for letting me escape when you had the chance to kill me, but shouldn't it make you partially responsible of those deaths, sensei? Asked Orochimaru. That's a mistake that I am going to solve now. You are no longer my student. You are just our vermin that has to be exterminated," exclaimed Sarutobi while he charged at Orochimaru. The battle continued. Orochimaru was still at disadvantage but was having less trouble with his adversaries no longer coordinated. Suddenly Orochimaru felt a horrible pain passing through all his body and felt extremely weak. What the what is happening to me?" babbled Orochimaru while he coughed blood. "It must be the special venom I prepared specifically for you," said Tsunade while she calmed down a bit. "Venom? When did you poison me?" "I was extremely careful around you," said Orochimaru while he struggled to stand. "You were poisoned just before the exam. The first dose of venom was on the kunai that your ex-student threw at you. The second one was on the form that you filled. It got into your body through your skin," said Sarutobi. What? You knew that it was me ulti this time?" asked Orochimaru. "Of course, my spy network is the best of the world. Really, you thought that you could slip under my nose? We always knew about your plans to get the Sharingan and the spies you had in the village," said Jiraiya. "Then I suppose that there is no need to keep with my cover anymore," said a voice. Several figures got between Orochimaru and his enemies. Tsunade and Jiraiya recognized the pair of masked ninjas who got into the exam pretending to be Orochimaru's teammates, a pair of identical individuals with dark bluish-gray hair with long bangs, a young man with white hair and 2 dots on the forehead, and finally a young man with gray hair and glasses, Yakashi Kabuto. I recognized the masked ones as members of the Fuuma clan whose names he couldn't remember. The twins are Sukan and Ukon, from the Sound 4, and the white-haired boy is Kimimaro, the last holder of the Shikatsu Myaku, Dead Bone Pulse, Blood Limit, thought Tsunade, reminding the mission report from the failed mission to retrieve Sasuke in the future. Orochimaru probably sent a snake to call them during the fight, thought Sarutobi while he got into a fighting pose. This could be troublesome. The Kaguya Kid is strong than the Sound 4 combined. He was the one who helped Orochimaru to kill the Namikaze Kage in the original timeline after all, and Kabuto is elite Jonin level, and then there are the twins and the pair of Kageyas who are not pushovers. Why plans always break down on the field? Thought Jiraiya with a sigh. With Naruto, Hinata and Lee. As soon as Hayate's students got into the forest, they looked at the scroll that the Chunin proctor at the entrance gave them. "An earth scroll, that means that we need to find a team with a heaven one," commented Naruto. "Who should carry it?" asked Hinata. "I think that the best option is yourself, Hinata. As our team's medic, you are supposed to be at the rear during the battles," said Lee. "I agree with that idea. Our enemies won't have any chance to get it. In the improbable case they manage to evade Lee and myself, they won't escape from Hinata's eyes," said Naruto. With a small blush at Naruto's words, Hinata put the scroll on her backpack. "Okay, now we should prepare a strategy to get a scroll from our rivals," said Naruto. After some minutes of talking, they got a strategy. Hinata will use her Byakugan to scan the forest, then they found an enemy. Lee will use his speed to attack the enemies and lure them to a part of the forest where Naruto prepared several traps. "Byakugan," exclaimed Hinata, focusing all her will to increase the range of her eyes. "Do you see any enemy team, Hinata-chan?" asked Naruto. "Yes, there is a team half a kilometer northwest of here. They are not any of our friends and I don't recognize their chakra pattern from anybody from Konoha, so we can attack them without remorse," she said. "Yosh. Thank you for the info, Hinata. I will head there and attack them so they will follow me to Naruto's trap. Wish me good luck, my friends," exclaimed Lee. The couple watched how their teammate disappeared on the bushes. "Do you think that he will be alright?" asked Hinata while she looked with her Dujutsu how Lee headed towards the other nins. "Sure. Don't worry about him, Hinata-chan. He is practically the fastest of Konoha 15, and due to our training with Mom and Dad's squad he knows this area very well, unlike our enemies. Besides, his suit is perfect for camouflage at the forest. The enemy is at total disadvantage against him," said Naruto. Naruto," said Hinata. "What happened, Hinata-chan? Is Lee hurt?" asked Naruto. The girl denied with her head. "No, it looks like he knocked out one of the ninjas from the enemy team with one hit. He did the same with the second one while he was turning back, and the last one is now begging Lee for mercy after seeing his teammate defeated so quickly," said Hinata with a sweat drop. Naruto sweat dropped too. Some minutes later Lee appeared holding a scroll, that luckily was a heaven scroll, the one they needed. "I'm sorry, Naruto, but it looks like we won't need to use your traps. It's a pity that those Ame ninjas were so weak," commented Lee. "Ame ninjas? Were they dressed with yellow jumpsuit and rebreathers that covered their whole faces by any chance?" asked Naruto. "Yes, they were. Are you telling me that you know them?" asked Lee, a bit nervous. "Yes, I met them after the adventure at Suna. Before my dad and I brought back Sannin and Tsunade-bachan back to the village. But don't worry, they are enemies, so it was okay to beat them, although I was surprised that they didn't get any stronger after that," commented Naruto. Lee exhaled in relief. "Thank goodness, for a moment I thought that I heard some friends of yours. Now that we have both scrolls we can go towards the tower," he said. "We must be careful, there is a great chance that we could fall into an ambush in our way there," said Hinata. "Don't worry about that. Hinata-chan, I will take care of it. There is a way we can reach without having to worry about ambushes. Lee, use the tree walking to stitch to me, we will fly over the forest," said Naruto while he took Hinata on his arms bridal style, making her blush a little. There were things that never changed. As Naruto said, the flight towards the tower was surprisingly safe and short. The tree crowns were so dense that nobody could see the sky where the Jinan team flew without having to worry about the treacherous terrain, the poisonous plants, the dangerous fauna and the other teams. Some minutes later, the trio landed before the tower's entrance and got inside. It didn't take them much time to decipher the riddle concerning the body and the mind. As soon as they opened the scrolls, a cloud smoke arose from them. When it dissipated they saw Iruka and Anko in the middle of a make-out session. The couple noticed the trio of genins looking at them with open eyes. Iruka tried to regain composure while pretending that nothing happened. "Well. I never imagined that you would manage to reach the tower so quickly. In fact, I think that you established a new record. You managed to make it in less than an hour," said an embarrassed Iruka while he readjusted his forehead protector. "Come on, Iruka-kun, don't be so shy. As ninjas they are technically adults, so there is no need to protect their innocent minds from the funniest part of adult life. They already heard the birds and bees lesson," said Anko. Naruto and Hinata reminded the day their respective parents gave them that lesson, but Lee looked puzzled. "What is the birds and bees lesson? They never covered it at the academy. Could you teach me, Iruka-sensei?" asked Lee. The teacher paled. The proctor smiled. "Well, it looks like we will have to teach Lee-kun some lessons, Iruka-kun. We can't left one of your ex-students uninformed about such important matter, don't you think so?" said Anko with a mischievous smile while he put her hands on Lee's shoulders. "Oh crap, I will better make sure that Anko doesn't turn Lee into a mixture of Jiraiya and Guy," thought Iruka. While they took Lee to a separated room, Anko looked at Naruto and Hinata. "There are rooms at the upper floor where you can rest. You will stay there until the end of the test. Don't worry, they have fridges, plenty of food, showers and beds. We don't know how much time it will take us to teach the lesson to your teammate, but he will be back before the next test," said Anko. "I will take note of everything you teach me and memorize it," exclaimed Lee while he prepared his notebook. "One more thing," said Anko to Naruto and Hinata, "the rooms are completely soundproof and protected by seals against all kinds of spying. Whatever happens there stays there," said with a blink. It was at that time when Naruto and Hinata realized that they would stay alone in the same for the remaining days of the test. Meanwhile, Hyuga felt a chill on his spine. Naruto and Hinata were having a great making-out session at their room. Since Naruto's latest exhibitions of his affection towards Hinata, the girl has been more effusive when they were together and became more permissive about where Naruto could touch her. Hyashi's rules were now absolutely forgotten. They also had the chance to sleep together again, something that they were crying for since the mission to Snow Country. It must be remarked that they didn't go farther. The more advanced stuff could wait until we're older. They were satisfied with their relationship as it was. "How do you think that the others are dealing at the forest?" "I hope that Neji-san is alright," said Hinata. "Don't worry about them," responded Naruto. "Neji's team is one of the strongest teams at the exams. They would be the second or the third, it's true. Kushina-san trained them very well." "Which team is the first?" she asked. "Ours, of course. We are the first ones who reached the tower. We even beat Gar's record in the original timeline. We are that awesome." "Where is Lee, by the way?" "Iruka-sensei should have told him about the birds and bees stuff," he said. Hinata blushed at the mention of birds and bees. They were in a bed hugging each other after all. Naruto created a clone who got out from the room, and some seconds later a smile appeared on his face. "Lee is training at the basement. He said that he will finish in a pair of hours, so we still have more time for ourselves," he said. The only response he got from Hinata was kiss on the lips. With Kushina's team, as Naruto said, the travel through the Forest of Death was practically a walk through the park for the eldest team of the Konoha 15. They defeated several teams with ease, getting their scrolls in the process. With Neji's Byakugan it was easy to find their rivals and catch them off guard. Then, Haku and Tenten disabled them using their superior accuracy before they realized that they were attacked. Those who reacted were easily defeated by the combined skills of the genins. We would have arrived earlier if you 10-10 didn't waste our time stealing the stuff from our fallen enemies, commented Haku. It was completely legal. Besides, it is a great chance to learn about other villages examining their weaponry and tools. At least I didn't waste my chakra healing them, responded 10-10. As a medic I feel obliged to give medical assistance to all those who need it, no matter who are them or what side are they with. It is one of the first and most important lessons taught by Lady Tsunade, said the medic. I don't care about what you do to our adversaries, I just want to end this test and see if Hinata-sama is safe, said Neji. When they reached the tower it took them little effort to solve the riddle at the entrance where they were greeted by Ebisu, who explained them about the purpose of the riddle and about the tower's facilities. To Neji's relief they noticed that Lee was at the hall training. That meant that Hinata also finished the test safely. I'm very happy to see that you passed this test too, my friends, although I am not surprised considering that my rival is in the team, said Lee. Neji ignored Lee's proclaims. Where is Hinata-sama, is she safe? He asked. Yes, after I finished my talk with Anko-sensei and Iruka-sensei one of the ninjas guarding the tower told me that they at room number 5, said Lee. Wait. Do you tell me that they have been alone at that room since you three got here? Asked a furious Neji. Yes, but you don't have to worry about, tried to say Lee before Neji bursted out towards the room, leaving Lee alone with Haku and 10-10. I never imagined that Neji would turn so protective with Hinata, he used to dislike her a lot during his first years at the academy, commented 10-10. As soon Neji got at the room's door he opened it violently. What the hell do you think that you are doing to my cousin? He exclaimed. However, instead of finding Naruto and Hinata over the bed with him groping her as he imagined, Neji saw Naruto writing some seals and Hinata practicing some katas. Both teens looked annoyed at the Hyuga. What are you talking about? I'm not doing anything to Hinata-chan, I'm just preparing some seals that could be useful during the next test and you can clearly see that Hinata-chan has been training, at least until you came here shouting, said Naruto. Ni-san. How could you have those thoughts about Naruto-kun and me? Asked Hinata looking hurt. The elder boy was speechless. Hinata, I just was trying to protect you, he said. Protect me from what? From Naruto? My boyfriend is a perfect gentleman with me, he never tries to take advantage of me and he is always aware of my needs. I think that you should trust your sensei's son a bit more, she said looking a bit angry. Hinata's last words made Neji to feel very ashamed of him. She is right, questioning Naruto's integrity I am questioning Kushina-sensei and Minato-sama's work as parents. It is really despicable, especially considering all the things they did for me, he thought. To the couple's surprise, Neji put himself on his knees. Naruto, please, forgive me for my inexcusable behavior, my zeal to protect my cousin made me to think the worst from you while you are actually one of the most truthful persons I know. I'm not worthy of being called your friend, he said. Hey. Come on, Neji, there is no need to be so dramatic, it was just a mistake, everyone makes mistakes. In fact I'm very happy to see that Hinata-chan has a relative who cares so much for her. I would have loved to have a big brother like you when I was growing up, said Naruto while he helped Neji to get up. Thank you Naruto, you are very generous, I wouldn't have been able to bear such a good person as yourself being angry at me, said Neji. Hinata smiled at the boys. His forgiving nature is one of the reasons I fell for Naruto, she said. However, Neji, I have to remind you that as my boyfriend Naruto can do without any repercussions many of the things you imagined as long as I agree it. Where I let him touch me is our businesses and only ours. Hinata's bold words turned Neji red from a blush. Wow, he can do that too. It must be a Hyuga trait, thought Naruto. I have to leave. Just remember to behave as responsible adults, okay? Said Neji while he left the room. When he closed the door Naruto and Hinata sighed in relief. I can't believe that it worked, commented Hinata. Yeah, we were lucky that the wards I put at the stairs were able to detect him when he was coming here. I doubt that your talk about we being a couple would have worked if he caught us, he said. Was Neji a bit faster he would have found Naruto and Hinata on the bed red-handed, more specifically Naruto's hands. Asuma's team got into the tower the next day, accompanied by Suna's team. Vinara managed to use his status as Damari's boyfriend to convince them that it would be too troublesome for everybody if they fought needlessly for some scrolls that they obviously had. A team from Takigakure arrived the third day, same happened with the two teams from Sound. That raised a lot of comments from the ninjas attending the tower, pointing how two minor villages made a better performance than some of the major ones. Hidan's genins were a bit annoyed, they were told to wait to a signal before going after the Uchiha and kill him, but if they didn't receive it in a 2 days lapse they should keep with the exam. That must mean that Orochimaru-sama didn't find the Uchiha worthy of it and killed him. I would have loved to see why he was considered a genius in a match, commented Zaku. The other sound team was more annoyed. At the end it looked that their mission was aborted and they had to keep with the facade, something that Tuya complained a lot with her swearing. Stop complaining, at least you don't have to be with your extra arms crossed and bandaged, replied Kitamaru. Kakashi and Kurenai's teams finally arrived the fourth day. They were greeted by the rest of the Konoha 15. Why it took you so much time to get here with the scrolls? We managed to make it in less than 2 hours, pointed Naruto, trying to tease Sasuke and Kiba. We were busy with a private competition, said Kiba with a grin. What are you talking about? Asked Lee, caught by the competition word. Shino intervened. Let me explain. Just after the beginning of the test our teams crossed paths. Kiba wanted to fight but I pointed that fighting among ourselves would be a very bad idea because the winner would be too weakened to reach the tower safely while it was easier and more logical to find other teams and get the scrolls from them, he said, and that is the part where I pointed that they were dickless cowards who were afraid of us, said Sai. Both Shino and Sasuke glared at the pale boy. Yeah, we would have beat them to submission if Yakumo-san didn't propose to make a competition where the team that got more scrolls would win and be declared the strongest, said Sasuke. The other genins praised Yakumo's quick thinking for avoiding a dire situation, making her blush. Making a competition is a very common practice in my clan in order to avoid unnecessary bloodbaths due to minor problems, she said. What? We want to participate too, exclaimed Naruto and Lee, who began to bother one of the Chayunins at the tower to let them leave until the test ended. No you can't. If you leave the tower you will be disqualified and we will be forced to imprison you for interfering in the exams, exclaimed an annoyed Chunin while he tried to walk away with the boys attached to his leg. Ignoring the scene, Sasuke and Kiba began to unwrap the scroll they got at the forest. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ha, surpass this, exclaimed Kiba with Akamaru barking in agreement. What? You have 10 scrolls like us? This means that this is a tie, said Sakura. Kiba stood speechless for a few seconds until he realized the famous sword on Sasuke's back, the one with the same name as him. Well, this proves that our team is the best. We did it without a super sword, just with our own abilities, said the Inuzuka. Hey, Sasuke-kun didn't need to use the sword to beat our adversaries, he said that they were too weak to resort to it. Besides, you had Akamaru with you, making your team a 4-man squad. Technically you were the ones with advantage, pointed Sakura. Talking about swords, why our team is the only one without a legendary weapon? Asked Ino. Hayate-sensei has the Raijin, Sasuke-kun and Kakashi-sensei have the Kiba and the White Light Chakra Saber respectively, and then there is Kushina-sensei's team with Haku-san having the new Ibari and Ten-Ten having the Shuriken sword. The elder girl grabbed her new weapon protectively. We got preference to receive them because we intervened on the mission at Snow Country and we had to renounce to a good chunk of our payment to get them. Besides, the only one on your team who is good with weapons is Asuma-sensei and his chakra knives were recently upgraded, responded Ten-Ten. The team spent the rest of the day discussing. At the end they solved their differences playing Ninja Duel Monsters. Only 2 teams arrived the last day, the team from Kumo with Yugito, Atsui and Tango, a group of men from Iwa. 2 of the Iwa nins were about their mid-20s while the third, a gigantic armored man with his face covered, was difficult to guess how old was he. Their presence heavily disturbed both Kiba and Shino. What's going on? Asked Naruto. Those guys, they have the smell of blood and according to Akamaru the last one is extremely powerful, said Kiba. Really? Let me check, said Naruto while he activated his sensor abilities. What the? He has as much chakra as me, he said. As much chakra as you? Asked Shino. This should be impossible. Unless this man is. One of the Chayunins interrupted them. Listen everybody. The second test is over, follow me to the arena. The Hokage himself is going to talk with you, he said. While the genins headed towards there, Kiba heard some of the Anbu commenting that all the other teams were dead, that the teams on the tower were the only ones alive. How strange, the wounds we caused to them were not life-threatening. I bet that this is the reason the Iwanin smell like blood, they must be the responsibles, thought Kiba. Yugito also heard it. There was something at the forest, something that most Chayunins wouldn't survive against and definitely not some aspirants. The Nibi is still disturbed, she thought. She noticed that Naruto was one of the survivors. Could he be the responsible? The Kyuubi is the most vicious and dangerous tailed beast. If it is true, then there is no doubt that we must stop him. When they arrived at the arena they saw Jiraiya, their respective senseis, Sarutobi, Tsunade, and Arashi. The god Dime was not very happy, After their battle against Orochimaru was interrupted, Kabuto and the man from the Kaguya clan managed to evacuate his ex-teammate while the others distracted them. The battle didn't last very long. Soon the brothers and the Fuma clan ninjas were defeated by the might of Sarutobi, Tsunade and Jiraiya, but the Fuma ninjas managed to surprise everybody, revealing vests full of exploding tags that they used to destroy themselves, taking the unwillingly brothers with them. When the smoke dissipated, there was not trait from Orochimaru, Kabuto or the two Ya. With Orochimaru free, we will have to resort to plan B. At least Tsunade-chan's poison will make his life harder. Who knows? It might even kill him. What disturbs me is that all the teams minus the ones here are dead. The only survivor was that girl from Grass identified as Karen. She is currently at the hospital sedated. We won't know what actually happened until she wakes up, thought Jiraiya. His grin softened when he saw the Konoha 15. Luckily they are alive and well. I can't imagine what would have happened if one of them was among the fallen. They are Konoha's future. Minato and Kushina also had some things bothering them. They had spent the last days at Mount Myaboku with Fukasaku and Shima in order to introduce Minato in the sage arts, but it had little success. At the time Minato got in contact with the oil that would attract natural energy towards him, transforming him into a toad, Kushina began to transform too. Luckily Fukasaku managed to reverse the transformation with his staff. Flashback: that link between you both must be the cause. It leaked the chakra from you to Kushina. Minato, you won't be able to get access to the sage mode if your wife doesn't learn the sage arts too in the same time. You both will have to harmonize your chakras in order to get the balance between spiritual energy, physical energy and natural energy. It will take a lot of work, but your link would be a great help to get that harmony. I also think that it would have even more benefits once you master it. But if you Kushina are trained in the sage arts too, that means that we will have make you sign the Toad contract. It would mean 4 humans holding the contract at the same time. I don't know if the great sage would allow it, commented Fukasaku. That old geezer will allow it or else, exclaimed Shima, appeased by the idea of finally having another female summoner after 400 years since the last one. And flashback: after Kushina signed the contract, the Uzumaki couple spent a good amount of time harmonizing with each other, helped by Fukasaku and Shima, who already had an extensive experience on it due to many of their most powerful techniques requiring it. Although they managed to get the sync in a record time, they barely made any progress to sense the natural energy. Fukasaku told them to not worry about it and pointed that those few who managed to become sages needed decades of training, including Jiraiya, that it was not a technique that one could master in a few days. However, Naruto in the original timeline managed to do it, surpassing Jiraiya, thought Minato. Our boy is exceptional, Min-kun. I wish I could have gone with Fukasaku and him to Mount Myaboku in the original timeline to see how he mastered the sage mode. It would have been useful to us, said Kushina. Naruto in the future told me that he could achieve sage mode so quickly thanks to Jiraiya's training to control the Kyuubi's chakra during their training trip, that it prepared him to sense and use foreign and dangerous chakra sources, pointing that he wouldn't have made it if Jiraiya gave him another kind of training, said Minato. I was so angry with Jiraiya after they ended that trip. At first I thought that the training was mostly a waste of time that only worked to weaken the seal, to estrange Naruto from his friends when he was finally getting the acknowledgement he deserved, and to put his ninja career on hold. But now I'm sure that if he received a more conventional training he wouldn't have been able to get the sage mode and be able to fight at cage level, thought Kushina. Yes, I think the same. It's a pity that Fukasaku said that the minimum age to learn Senjutsu was 15 years, because a younger human would turn into a mixture of tadpole and toad and his body would get into a fatal shock, commented Minato. Naruto may not have sage mode this time, but he has us, his family. I wonder if we would turn like Ma and Pa if we keep spending time with them, commented Kushina. Turn into a pair of toads for the use of Senjutsu? They were born toads, they were not originally humans who turned like that for using genjutsu, pointed Minato. No, silly. I mean, if we would turn into an old couple that is always arguing but actually caring deeply for each other, she said. While I doubt that we would be arguing most time, I agree about the caring, and I must add that we would be surrounded by grandchildren and great-grandchildren, said Minato while he looked at the teams. Their happy thoughts were interrupted when they recognized some of the participants, the blonde woman from Kumo, the green-haired girl from Taki and the giant from Iwa. What? They are the Jinchurikis of the Nibi, the Ninibi and the Gobi. What are they doing here? Thought Minato. Min-kun, look at the sensei of the Iwa team, said Kushina pointing to a red-head bearded man. Is he who I think he is? Asked Minato without looking at him. Yes, he is Roshi, the Jinchuriki of the Ibi, responded Kushina. So, said Minato, If we count Gaara who is at the stands with the senseis and Naruto at the arena, it looks like the majority of Jinchurikis are here, in this room, with Killer Bee being the only remaining. We are in a very delicate situation, like in a room full of explosives waiting for a detonate to explode. At least nobody else seems to be aware of each other's condition. And just at that moment the detonate, in the form of a sound sensei, intervened. Is this a Chunin exam or a Jinchuriki meeting? There are 6 of them in this room, commented Hidan loudly. So, said Minato, if we count Gaara who is at the stands with the senseis and Naruto at the arena, it looks like the majority of Jinchurikis are here, in this room, with Killer Bee being the only remaining. We are in a very delicate situation, like in a room full of explosives waiting for a detonate to explode. At least nobody else seems to be aware of each other's condition, said Minato, and just at that moment the detonate, in the form of a sound sensei, intervened. Is this a Chunin exam or a Jinchuriki meeting? There are 6 of them in this room, commented Hidan loudly. A great silence came after the Jashinist's words. The Jinchurikis and the other ninjas looked at Hidan in disbelief. What are you talking about? 6 Jinchurikis here? Are you joking? Asked the Jonin sensei from Takigakure, trying to downplay Hidan. You hear me perfectly right. I said that there's 6 Jinchurikis here, let me point them, said Hidan. Minato and the others were about to jump at him, but Jiraiya made a gesture ordering them to hold back. Reluctantly, they agreed. Hidan pointed at Gaara with his scythe. That boy has the Ichibi, also known as Shukaku, he said while Gaara looked at him with an expressionless face. Then he pointed to Yugito. That woman has the Nibi, the two-tailed cat. Yugito cursed the white-haired loudmouth. She has been hoping that she could complete her mission without revealing her status as Jinchuriki, but now all the elemental nations will know who she is. All those years keeping a low profile wasted. Unaware of the problems he caused to Yugito, he pointed at the Jonin sensei from Iwa, a redhead man with a matching beard. That man has the bee, the four-tailed ape. If Roshi was affected by Hidan's revelation, he didn't show it. Next Hidan pointed at the big armored man from Iwa. That big guy has the gobi, the five-tailed. Hey you. What the hell do you have sealed within yourself? He asked. Everyone looked at Han, waiting for his response. Good question. I never knew what kind of species is supposed to resemble the five tails. It is supposed to be a mixture of horse and dolphin, but it also has horns and the legs are really strange, thought the Sandaime. Why don't you come here and check it out, you smarty? Responded Han in a defying tone. Hidan looked at Han with an evil smile. Perhaps I would do it, but now I'm busy. Where was I? Oh, yes, that flat-chested girl is the Jinchuriki of the Nanabi, he said. Fu sent Hidan a look of pure hatred. Nobody could guess if it was due for revealing that she was a Jinchuriki or for calling her flat-chested. Hidan ignored the glare and kept with his show, and course there is the cue. A figure appeared at Hidan's side, poking a trench knife at his neck and another at his liver. It is forbidden to talk about that in this village. Also, I remind you that not knowing a law doesn't exempt you to break it, said Asuma while he looked at Hidan's eyes. Well, it's the Naruto-sensei, a guy I killed in the future. It will be very funny to kill him again. Jashin will be very pleased. Poor guy, he doesn't know what is coming to him, thought Hidan with a smile. So this is the man who killed Kairiku and me in Shikamaru's future. Things won't be so easy for you this time. Immortal or not, I doubt that you could do much harm without your limbs, thought Asuma with an expressionless face. The tension generated by the two men was suffocant. Those who knew about the future never expected this encounter at that time in that place. They didn't know what could happen. Sensei, please, don't do anything recklessly. I don't want to see you dying again. You must live to see your child, thought Shikamaru while he subtly got in the stance to use his jutsu to immobilize Hidan. If you try to lay a hand on my son you will suffer. I don't care about that immortality of yours. I will make you regret to be immortal because you will wish to be dead after I finish with you, thought Sarutobi at the sight of the Jashinist. The two men kept glaring at each other without moving, ready to jump at the slightest movement. Hey! There is no need for that, Asuma-sensei. I don't care if they find out that I'm the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, I'm very proud of it, exclaimed Naruto. Those who didn't know about Naruto's condition looked at him in disbelief. So that midget has the Kyuubi? I wonder what kind of powers the fox grants to him. It looks like coming to this silly competition won't be a waste of time. It would be interesting to face him and the other Jinchurikis, thought Han. Interesting, he is not like Han at all. Konoha probably treated him better than any of us, thought Roshi. How can he be proud of being a Jinchuriki? Does he like the glares and the mistreatment? Thought Fu in disbelief. Well, looking at it on the bright side, it means that I don't have to hide my true power anymore, and now that he revealed his condition as Jinchuriki, I can go full power on him using the excuse that he is the strongest by Juo. However, it would be better if he is killed by the giant or the girl, whispered Yugito to her teammates. I never imagined that I would find more people like Naruto and me here. Judging by their eyes, it looks like that neither of them had a good life as Jinchurikis. I wonder if they found people to care about, thought Gaara. Great. More opponents with superpowered beings backing them up. We didn't have enough with Naruto, thought Shikamaru with a sigh. The remaining Jinchurikis. Man, we're lucky that we made Chunin and don't have to compete against them, commented Kankuro. If I knew this, I would have made our team fail so we would be participating in these exams, responded Gaara. Kankuro didn't say anything. The Tsunejinins were very nervous. And nobody told me that there would be more ninjas like Gaara-sama and Naruto-san. What if we have to fight against them? Asked Itetsu, the boy from the Tsuna team. I suppose that we will have to do our best, said Mitsuri. Perhaps Gaara-sama could give up some private lessons in order to be ready to fight other Jinchurikis, said with a nervous smile Sari, the other Sannin, trying to raise the mood of her team. More Jinchurikis, like Naruto and Gaara. This will be a great chance to test how strong I really became. This is very exciting, my blood is boiling in eagerness to fight, thought Sasuke with a smile. He was not the only one, other ninjas like Neji, Lee and Kiba were thinking the same thing. Shino looked at Fu. That girl has the Nanabi? Is that the reason she resents insects so much? He thought. Flashback: the Aburame was on one of the forests that surrounded Konoha, in an expedition to find some interesting bugs. A rare smile appeared on his stoic face when he saw a rare type of green beetle that he didn't hope to find. Unfortunately, one of the drawbacks of his time travel was that all the hard work gathering rare bugs had to be started again from the point it was when he traveled back. That green beetle in particular took Shino several months in the original of searching until he found a specimen, but now he had another one at his grasp. He was so excited that he didn't notice the other person at the zone until he saw the foot ready to crush the bug. "Stop it! What are you doing?" exclaimed Shino while he summoned his bugs to save the beetle. "You don't see it? I'm going to crush this stinky bug," said the owner to the foot, a girl with a strange mint green hair. "I see it. What I want to know is why are you attacking a creature that didn't do anything to you," said Shino. The girl looked furious at him. "You don't know what bugs did to me. You believe me or not, one of them destroyed my life. I don't have any sympathy by those creatures," she said. "There is no point about blaming a whole branch of living beings due to something that one of them did to you. It is not logical," said Shino. "You wouldn't understand my situation. Why do you care about bugs so much?" asked the girl with a skeptical. "I'm an Aburame. Bugs are our allies and friends," he said. "Aburame? That Konoha clan that has bugs living inside them since children?" she asked, surprised. "Yes, I am one of them," said Shino, expecting a reaction in disgust or rejection from her, but to his surprise she was looking at him with very serious face. "So that means that you will implant those bugs on your own children if you ever have one?" she asked. "Of course, that is the tradition," he said. Slap! He didn't see it coming. The girl slapped him while radiating killing intent. However, what surprised Shino was that his bugs didn't interfere and let her attack him. "How can you plan to do that to your own family? Why, you soulless freak? If your clan really loved its children you wouldn't do such things to them," she exclaimed. Before he could make a remark, the girl left the place. Shino stood there for a few seconds holding his cheek. She was not disgusted. "It is the first time I see somebody angry due to my clan's traditions," he thought. He took the green beetle, put it in a jar and headed back. "I wonder why that girl is like that. I would like to make a research, but unfortunately I have other matters of higher importance as the exams end." Flashback: so that is the reason she hates bugs so much. It's obvious that she had a bad childhood due to people being afraid of the Nanabi, like Naruto and Gaara. Now I understand why she dislikes my clan's practices. Turning the host of a colony is not so different than creating a Jinchuriki, but unlike us, she probably didn't have a clan that gave support to her and taught her how to deal with the rejection from the villagers, thought Shino. Among all ninja clans, those who specialized in turning their members into living hives like Aburames were the ones who understood Jinchurikis the better. They also had to face rejection from their perks during their childhood due to the bugs living inside them. But, unlike Jinchuriki, they had the support from other clan members and were taught that things would turn better when they became older, when their peers would mature. It was not very known, but Shibi Aburame also was tempted to adopt Naruto into the Aburame, but at the end abandoned the idea when he realized that they wouldn't be able to implant a colony on Naruto because the Kyuubi would reject them. making it impossible for the boy to integrate into the Aburame clan, so Shibi decided to not apply for adoption, hoping that somebody else would take Naruto. It didn't happen. While Shino was thinking, one of the proctors was looking at the Iwa team when he noticed something amiss. "Wait a minute. What is that man doing here? There is no way that he can be a Genin," said Genma while pointing at Han. "What do you mean?" asked Aoba. "That man fought against us during the last war. I didn't recognize him at first because at that time he was shorter than now. He is Han of the Joki no Yoroi, Steam Armor, one of the Iwa ninjas with the highest amount of kills during the war. There is no way that a war veteran of his caliber could be still a Genin," pointed Genma. Everyone looked at the armored man with a mixture of awe and fear. My father told me about this guy. He said that he can destroy entire platoons unscathed. He is probably stronger than Gaara-sama, said Itetsu. "Yes, I'm that man," said Han. It is good to see that my exploits were not forgotten. Sai didn't seem to be affected by Han's remark. "Excuse me, but why are you still a Genin? Somebody of your power and experience should have received a promotion ages ago. I have to remark that those Chayunins or Jonins who have been demoted to Genin can't participate in the exam, so if you had once a higher rank you can't be here," he said. "No, it is not. I never was in rank higher than Genin," responded Han. "I see, then it must mean that those in charge at Iwa denied you a promotion because you are a Jinchuriki," said Sai. "Perhaps," responded Han, amused. "What? That's horrible. A leader must treat all his subordinates equally and give them what they deserve based on their merits," exclaimed an incensed Naruto. People began to murmur about how unfair it was to participate against a ninja who was probably elite Jonin level due to some stupid bigots at Iwa. "We have to tell the Kazekage about this. Does it mean that he could participate again in the following exams if they decide to not promote him even if he wins? Typical of Iwa." "Wait a minute. That is not true," exclaimed Roshi, the Jinchuriki. "What do you mean?" asked Sai. "Han was not denied a promotion due to him being a Jinchuriki. I'm also one and I am a Jonin. The only reason he is still a Genin is because he rejected all the promotions that Tsuchikage offered to him," remarked Roshi. "You don't want to be promoted? Why? It is a great honor and better position to serve your village," asked Naruto in disbelief. Han got himself at Naruto's side, towering the younger Jinchuriki with his height. Until that moment nobody noticed how tall Han really was. "That guy. He is even taller than the Raikage," thought Yugito. "You asked me for the reason I don't want a promotion, boy? You said it yourself, because it is a better position to help my village. Like I'm going to do something that could benefit that dunghill called Iwa," said Han. Everyone was shocked by the way Han talked about his home village. "I don't care anything about that place. A higher rank would mean higher ranking mission and more benefits for a village that doesn't care if I exists or not. Getting a higher rank in a ninja village is a sign of devotion for said place and a sign of acknowledgement from the village itself. I don't want any acknowledgement from that scum. They can eat their Chunin vest if they want," said Han. I knew that he despised his village a lot, but not to that point, thought Minato. Han continued with his talk. "As a Genin I can dismiss any mission from a rank higher than C without any consequences. That means that said missions would be assigned to somebody less prepared than myself, meaning higher chances of failure and discredit to Iwa," said Han. But doing C and D missions is a waste of your talent," exclaimed Naruto, horrified at Han's words. "That's the point. The village destroyed my life in order to have a weapon, so in revenge I make them see how all those efforts to obtain that weapon are wasted in menial tasks that give me enough live comfortable. Why should I risk my life and waste my time for those who don't deserve it?" said Han. "It can't be true. With the payment you get with those missions it is hard to pay the bills, especially if they overcharge you," exclaimed Fu. "I also had problems with some merchants overcharging me. The problem stopped once I burned a pair of shops. You should try it at home, girl. As Jinchuriki you are more valuable for the village than some shopkeepers who do illegal things, especially if you are the only thing that separates the village from the wrath of a Baijuo," said Han. The other Jinchurikis were horrified at Han's words, minus Roshi, who made a gesture of defeat with his head. "This man. I could have turned like him, despising the village to the point of not caring for my ninja career if it could bother the village," thought Naruto. "Do they overcharge that girl Ataki just because she is a Jinchuriki? That reminds me when some shopkeepers tried to deny service to Naruto and I sent them to Ibiki. After that, nobody else tried to do it again. I should have a talk with Shibuki about that. A leader had to make sure that laws are respected," thought Sarutobi. He took advantage of his Jinchuriki status to do what he pleased, like I used to do before meeting Naruto, thought Gaara. "Wait a minute, If you don't want to be Chunin, why are you participating in these exams? Asked Naruto. I made a deal with the Nutsuchikage. I participate in these exams and he lets me leave the village. The only reason I didn't leave the village is because I would be labeled as a missing nin and would give those bastards a legitimate reason to get rid of me and get the gobi back. No thanks, better to stay there and keep the internal boycott, said Han. I'm very sorry that you hate your village so much. I don't know how bad was your life, but I have an idea about it. Mine was not the best until 2 years ago. If the old man didn't inspire me to become Hokage, probably I would have tried to boycott the village too. No, I won't follow that path. Unlike you, I will become my village's best servant, becoming the Hokage, said Naruto. I recognize you. You are Naruto Uzumaki, the so-called Prince of Konoha. The one who is hunting other Jinchurikis in order to be the only one. You must feel like in a candy store, said Han. What? I'm not hunting the other Jinchurikis, that is what Akatsuki does, exclaimed Naruto. Really? According to the bingo books, you killed the Rakubi and the Sanbi, who was the Mizukage. Earlier you tried to do the same with the Ichibi at the same time that your father defeated the Hichibi, commented Han. What? That boy is the Prince of Konoha, the one who killed the Mizukage? Asked Zaku. That's not true. I didn't kill any of them. They lost control of their Baijuas and I didn't have anything to do with it, exclaimed Naruto, cursing that bingo book. So what? There are more freaks in this exam, I don't care. If we are lucky, the monsters would kill each other, giving us more chances, commented one of the Tokigakure ninjas who came with Fu, while the other agreed. The temperature at the room literally dropped several degrees by the killing intent directed toward the Tokigakure ninjas. They realized too late that it was not a good idea to insult foreign Jinchurikis, especially if they outnumbered you and had friends and relatives present. If it was not enough, they felt like somebody was suffocating them, grabbing their throats, although there was nobody at their side. They tried to gasp for air, but the mysterious force was too strong. You too, I don't know how are things at your village, but here in Konoha, disrespecting a Jinchuriki is not well seen by those in charge. Another slip and you will be severely punished and banned from Konoha forever. Am I clear? Blink one time if you understood, said Jiraiya in a very serious tone. The boys blinked. Jiraiya then made a gesture to Minato to make the Fuuten Bunshine that was suffocating them to release them. Everyone was impressed by the exhibition of power, even the Konohans. Good, now that I have your attention, we can treat this event again as a Chunin exam and not a henhouse. We are wasting a lot of time that I could use for other things like writing my awesome books. First of all, congratulations for passing the second test, you should be proud and blah, blah, blah. Now I'm going to tell you the true purpose of the Chunin exams, said Jiraiya. Shikamaru and Shino ignored the speech about the Chunin exams actually being a substitute of war and how their performance at the third test would determine if they become Chunins or not. And now comes the part where the Hokage tells everybody that due to having so many participants, we will have to make some preliminary matches in order to have a more manageable number of participants, because the time of the feudal lords and personalities who will come to the finals is too valuable to waste it in some low-level fights, thought Shikamaru. And for that reason we will have to make some preliminary matches in order to have less participants and don't waste the time of our potential clients. But you know what? I'm the Cage in charge and I decide how and when will be the prelims. Instead of fighting as individuals, you will participate at the prelims as teams that will fight until we have the desired small number of participants. At that point we will start the third part, where you will participate as individuals, as always, said Jiraiya. Everyone looked surprised at Jiraiya. The prelims will start in 3 weeks. A week before the finals. That will give us enough days to shorten the numbers. That means that during the 3 following weeks you can train and rest for the combats and everybody will be able to fight at 100%, something that wouldn't happen if I decided to start the preliminary matches now, said Jiraiya. Those teams who arrived the last ones were relieved. They wouldn't be at disadvantage to those who arrived earlier due to having more rest time. Due to these combats being preliminary matches, you won't know who will be your adversaries until 1 hour before the match. That means that you will have to come to the prelims prepared for any adversary instead of coming to the finals with a strategy prepared specifically to fight against your first opponent, said Jiraiya. Shikamaru and Shino saw Jiraiya's idea. He is right, during the finals most participants came there with strategies to fight only their first adversary, resulting in a drop of performance in the following combats. Almost none of those participants was promoted to Chunin for not being able to adapt to unknown situations, thought Shino. However, with only 1 hour to prepare the fight, teams will need the ability to prepare plans quickly, like in real missions, thought Shikamaru. Jiraiya was about to finish his speech. One more thing, I don't know what kind of criterion will follow the authorities of other villages, but Konoha's judges and me will observe your performance during the prelims in order to determine if you eligible for Chunin. In fact, they will be more important than the finals themselves. Yes, don't look at me with those faces. You Konoha ninjas can become Chunins without reaching the finals. If you ask why I'm giving more importance to the prelims, it's easy. Chunins are supposed to be team captains. They always work in teams whenever they can. How to show the necessary qualities for that in individual combats? I never understood that, said Jiraiya. The most experienced ninjas at the room had to agree with Jiraiya's reasoning. Chunin worked at teams most of the time. To determine if someone is ready for the role in an individual combat was contradictory, and that's all. The place of the prelims will be Konoha's stadium in a 3 weeks' time, said Jiraiya. The Godime left the place, leaving the aspirants with their senseis and the other ninjas. Genma approached to them. Okay, now we are going to escort you outside the forest. Once we are out, we will take those who are not from Konoha to show you some training grounds that you can use to train. Those grounds will be protected by diplomatic laws until the training period is over. That means that they will be considered territory of your respective villages, and Konoha citizens will be forbidden to enter during that time. You also can choose to leave the village and make your training outside Fire Country. Just make sure to be back at Konoha for the day of the prelims, he said. Getting out from the Forest of Death didn't take much time thanks to the guidance of the veteran nins. By the way, they saw squads made of Anbu and medic nins carrying body bags with those who didn't make it, reminding the genins that the exams were not a game. However, many of them sent nervous glances at the Jinchurikis, wondering if they were the reason because none of those who didn't pass the test was still alive. When they got out from the forest, Genma and the other Jonins escorted the foreign nins to show them their training grounds while the Konoha genins were taken to the Hokage Tower. Why are we here, Kakashi-sensei? Asked Kiba. You will know soon, Kiba. The Godime has a special surprise for you all, responded Kakashi. They got into a room where Jiraiya was there, waiting for them, accompanied by Tsunade, Sarutobi, Shizune and several clan heads, the ones who were related to the participants like Shikaku Nara or Shibiaburame. Good to see that you are here. Now we can begin with the special meeting where you will know your training arrangements for the prelims, said Jiraiya. Training arrangements? Aren't we supposed to be trained by our senseis? Asked Sakura. Yes, your sensei will keep training you, but not only that. Each one of you will receive special and personal training from one of the adults present here during the 3 weeks until the prelims, in addition to the training that your senseis will give you as teams. The purpose of these private trainings is to improve your strong points while decreasing your weak ones. We organized the things in a way you will get the trainer who you will get more benefits. Don't feel bad if you see that one of your comrades gets a stronger sensei than you. The sensei that you get will be the most suitable for you. Take account that you will be the ones fighting at the arena, not your trainers, said the Godime. Individualized training, it sounds very good, thought Sasuke. Enough talking, let's start with Kakashi's team. Kiba, you will be trained by your mother Tsume because Inuzukas are the best ones to train Inuzukas. Yakumo, you will be trained by Kurenai, your former sensei. Sai, you will be trained by Kakashi, he says that he has special plans for you, said Jiraiya. What? Trained again by mom? I already got enough of that, complained Kiba. It looks like that I didn't train you enough, especially in discipline, said Tsume, looking annoyed at her son. See, come on mommy, I was just joking. I like a lot to be trained by you, babbled Kiba. Then you will love what I have in store for you for the upcoming weeks, Kiba-chan, said Tsume while she grabbed Kiba, making sure that he wouldn't escape. Akamaru not doing anything to help his partner. It will be a great chance for your development, Sai. There are a pair of ideas that I want to test with your ability, said Kakashi without taking his eyes from his book. Is it something perverted, Scarecrow-sensei? Asked Sai. Did you say something? Asked Kakashi. Damn. How he does it. He never loses his cool. Yakumo looked at Kurenai, happy to train with her again, but she realized something that was amiss. Anyo, Kurenai-sensei, your team is participating too. Can't it cause a conflict of interest? She asked. Good question, Yakumo-chan. Me training you would cause that conflict if we knew surely that you would fight against one of my current students, but with the matches decided just an hour before they are celebrated, we don't know if you would fight them or not, so there is no problem with me training you, said Kurenai. The genins looked at Jiraiya with more respect. The idea about deciding the combats just an hour before now made more sense. Who would have thought that Godime-sama was so cunning? He is not Hokage for nothing. Jiraiya felt how his ego got bigger and bigger with each comment. It looks like thinking all time about new ways to do perverted things improved his intelligence. Yeah, pondering about the best watching spot and thinking about different escape routes and contingency plans if he was found peeping was a good brain training. Jiraiya's ego deflated while the adults did their to not laugh. Enough talking. Let's go with Asuma's team. Shikamaru, you will train with Shikaku Nara. Kuji, you will train with Kuza Akimichi and Ueno will train with Shizune Kato, he said. Excuse me Hokage-sama, I understand Shikamaru and me training with our fathers, but why is Ino training with Shizune-san instead of her own father? Asked Kuji. It is because the Yamanaka techniques she didn't learn yet are restricted to higher ranks. They are not combat techniques as the ones you'll learn. We are talking about things like wiping out memories, modifying them, implant orders, mind reading, mental conditioning. Things that shouldn't be taught to a ninja who didn't prove to be able to bear the responsibilities that came with that kind of power, said Jiraiya. Everyone looked at Ino with a newfound respect. The girl felt proud but at the same time was frustrated because she wouldn't be allowed to learn said techniques until she proved that she was ready to take the responsibility. But looking at it on the bright side, it means that I can focus on my medic techniques. Shizune-senpai is a more attentive teacher than Tsunade-sama and less harsh, she thought. Jiraiya continued assigning trainers. Let's go with Kurenai's team. Shino, you'll be trained by Shibi. Sakura, you'll be trained by Tsunade. Sasuke, you'll be trained by Hiruzen Sarutobi, he said. Now I understand why the god said to not feel bad if someone got a stronger sensei. It would be easy to think that Sakura and Sasuke are receiving a prefer treatment getting training from two ex-Kages, but Jiraiya-sama was right. My father is the best person to train me. I wouldn't get anything useful from Tsunade-sama or Sarutobi-sama, thought Shino. Now comes Kushina's team. Haku, you'll be trained by Azabuzama Mochi. Neji, you'll be trained by Hiyashi Hyuga and Tenten will be trained by Kushina Uzumaki, said Jiraiya. Tenten had to contain herself to not cry on joy. With her sensei training her, they would have time to finish their special project on time for the prelims. Something similar happened with Neji and Haku, who also have been developing their own projects with their assigned trainers. Finally there is Hayate's team. Hinata will be trained by Hayate Gecko. Yuli will be trained by Mido Gai. Yosh. This will be a great chance to invigorate my son's flames of youth, exclaimed Gai. Dad sensei, said Lee. Son, Dad? Just before they embraced each other with the correspondent sunset genjutsu with waves, Jiraiya intervened. Enough. If you don't stop that immediately, I will change the arrangements and put Lee under Iviki's tutelage and force you Gai to shave your head. Am I clear? Asked Jiraiya looking menacing. Yes Hokage-sama, said the duo sitting on their knees. I can't believe he managed to stop that abomination. It must be the authority that comes with the Hokage position. Jiraiya finished the assignations. Where was I? Oh yes, Naruto will be trained Arashi Uzumaki. That's everything. We will meet again in 3 weeks, train hard and leave Konoha in a good place. Everyone is dismissed minus you Naruto. I need to talk with you for a very important matter, he said. Alright Hokage-sama, said Naruto. It's strange when Naruto doesn't call me Uro-sennin in these serious situations. Having his parents around is making a lot changes, thought Jiraiya. Naruto, when you are finished with Hokage-sama, meet me at training spot 36, said Arashi while disappearing on a spiral leaves. Students and senseis left the place with Hinata was looked at Hayate with a curious face. You are asking yourself why I was assigned as your personal sensei instead of another Hyuga, don't you? He asked. Why yes. It is not that I'm questioning the decision, but I don't why you would be the best one to train me, sensei, she asked. I personally requested Hokage-sama to train you. During the time we have been in the same team I noticed that you have a talent that your teammates lack and I can train you on it. For that reason I want to train you. It will benefit our team a lot, he said. A talent? What kind of talent? Asked Hinata, happy to know that she would be more useful for her team. You will see it during your training, but I warn you that it will be a hard one. We only have 3 weeks to achieve it. We also will try to finish the technique you have been developing, said Hayate. I almost have it. It will be invaluable if I have it ready for the exams. Besides, Naruto promised me a special present for the time I got it, she thought. With Naruto and Jiraiya Uro-sennin, what do you want? I want to begin my training with Dad. It has been a while since the last time I trained with him. I'm not saying that you are bad, but, well, Dad is Dad, said Naruto. Uro-sennin again. He is still the same disrespectful brat, thought Jiraiya with a sigh. Never mind, Naruto. The reason I want to talk alone with you is something that can affect you deeply if you agree with it. For that reason you are the only one who can decide about it, said Jiraiya. The Sennin's words intrigued Naruto. Something that can affect me deeply? What are you planning? A training trip is the one you had with my future self? Asked Naruto a bit wary. The idea of leaving Konoha for some years to become stronger didn't attract the boy at all. If he got the proposition some years ago he wouldn't have doubted to leave Konoha, but now Naruto had his family back, the love of a wonderful girl and the respect of most of the village. No, as the Hokage I can't leave the village for such long amount of time. What I want is your approval to end with this Ondaime's law, said Jiraiya. Oh, that? Okay, I have no problem with it. You can abolish that law, said Naruto, relieved to know that he wouldn't have to leave the village. Really, you don't mind about it, Naruto? Now people will be able to talk openly about the fox sealed within you, said Jiraiya. The old man created the law so I could have the chance to have a normal life. It didn't work, and during all that time I never knew why the villagers disliked me. If I want to be Hokage, it will be better if the younger generations knew why their parents told them to stay away from me. If they accept me or not, it's their problem, not mine, said Naruto. It's great to hear that from you, Naruto. It's only a matter of time that the whole elemental nations know about your Jinchuriki status after that loudmouth Hidan exposed the other Jinchurikis and your own proclamation as such. It wouldn't make sense if Konoha was the only place where people didn't know who was the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, said Jiraiya. I still can believe that I would have to face more people like me. We have to warn them about Akatsuki, said Naruto. Yes, we will have to make our best to protect all the Jinchurikis. First I will start enacting a law that would punish severely any disrespect towards Jinchurikis by the mere fact of being one. It will also punish all those unable to difference the container from the content, said Jiraiya. There is no need for that, Sannin. If someone badmouths me I will put him on his place, said Naruto. No, Naruto, it is something that needs to be done. You Jinchurikis deserve a better treatment. You are the ones who protect everybody from the Baiju's fury and have to be respected for that, not scorned. Those who can't see it must realize their foolish ways. I can't change people's minds, but I can make them keep their opinions for themselves, said Jiraiya. Alright, Sannin, I trust your judgment. If we are lucky, perhaps we could convince some of the other Jinchurikis to join Konoha after the Chunin exams, said Naruto. I doubt that their respective villages would let them leave, but there is a good chance that it would make them improve the treatment on Jinchurikis. Okay, Gaki, that's all. You can go to train with your father, said Jiraiya. Later, it has been 2 days since Jiraiya abolished the third law. Unlike many could think, the treatment that Naruto got from the village didn't get worse. Perhaps it was due for the villagers being used to not talk about the fox, the new view they had for Naruto after they found out about his heritage and his deeds, the punishment they could get, inflicted by his own parents, or a mixture of the three factors. The only who seemed to change his attitude towards Naruto was Kiba, who teased Naruto saying that Orochimaru was a better companion than Kyuubi, and surprisingly it seemed to affect Naruto. He didn't tell to anybody, but he was really jealous of the relationship that Kiba had with his canine companion. It started when Naruto met Killer Bee and Suna and saw how compenetrated was the older Jinchuriki with his Baijuo. After that meeting, Naruto came to the realization that he would never be able to handle the Kyuubi's power at his fullest if he didn't have the Fox's agreement. Naruto felt that his was duty to become a perfect Jinchuriki like Bee. If he didn't manage it, his parents' sacrifice would have been futile. His thoughts were interrupted by one of his youngest friends. Hey Konohamaru, nice to see you. How are things at the academy? He asked with a smile. However, the Sarutobi had a very serious look. Naruto. Is it true? Is it true that you have the Kyuubi sealed inside you? He asked. So that's the reason, thought Naruto. Yes, it is true. The Ondaime Hokage sealed the fox inside me. Baiju can't be killed permanently because they eventually reform themselves. The only way to contain them is sealing them, usually in human beings who are known as Jinchurikis, able to use the power of the Baiju they contain. Now tell me, Konohamaru, does it affect the way you see me? Asked Naruto in a very serious tone. No. It doesn't, shouted Konohamaru. I don't care if you have the fox backing you or the fact that it makes you a hero. I will still beat you when we fight for the Hokage title, said Konohamaru. Wait. You are not scared or angry for me having the fox? And you see that as heroic? Asked Naruto. No, why should I be? If a Hokage sealed the fox, it won't escape. Why are you surprised for me seeing the sealing as heroic? You are the one who is keeping everybody safe. I bet that you must be tired of the praises from the villagers. I don't care, I will make something so heroic that people will equal it, exclaimed Konohamaru. Naruto was touched. Konohamaru, you are a bit naive, but at the same time you are very wise. I will be very happy if you manage to defeat me when we finally fight because it would mean that I will be leaving Konoha in very capable hands, said Naruto. Really? You wouldn't be angry? Asked Konohamaru. No, I won't. Besides, you won't defeat me. You'll better watch me at the prelims and the finals because it will give you an idea of the adversary you will have to fight, said Naruto. It's not fair, I will have to go to the academy during those days, complained Konohamaru. Then you will have to watch the records, the academy training is very important and you can't skip it. I learned it on the hard way, said Naruto. Alright, but you have to promise me to make Chunin and to watch me at the time I will participate at the exams, said Konohamaru. I promise it. You know what? I promise you to become a Jonin before you graduate so I can convince Sannin to assign me as your Jonin sensei, said Naruto. Really? You would become my sensei? Asked Konohamaru with stars on his eyes. Sure, with the exception of the Shodai and the Nidaime, all the previous Hokages were trained by other Hokages. I myself am Sannin's apprentice. It wouldn't be fair if you don't get training from a Hokage, said Naruto. Grandpa has been teaching me a little and promised me to be his main disciple once he finishes with Sasuke. Wouldn't it be unfair me being trained by two Hokages? Asked Konohamaru. Don't worry about it, Konohamaru, you won't be at advantage, said Naruto, reminding that Konohamaru didn't know that his father was the Yondaime Hokage. Ebisu-sensei gave me a pair of ramen coupons. Do you want to seal our promises with a ramen bowl? Asked Konohamaru. Sure, responded Naruto. The future Hokages headed to Ijiraku, while chatting about what they would do once they had the hat on their heads. Hyuga compound. 4 days later, the Hyuga elders were having a secret meeting, taking advantage of Hiyashi's absence. So, it's decided, said one of them. Yes, at the end we will be doing the best for the clan, said Lady Miho. It doesn't matter if Hiyashi told us to forget about it and all the Jonins from the clan supporting him. We have been discussing a lot about it and we came to that conclusion. This is the best moment to proceed with the next phase now that Hiyashi is absent training Neji and with most the clan's Jonins away on missions. We will continue with the original plan. Hinata Hyuga has to break her relationship with Naruto Uzumaki. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.